Welcome back to AAA Wargaming. I'm recording this late on the evening. I had a friendly against Tommy Tucker again. He's probably my most local player on Thursday night, so a school night. So we started pretty late, but it was a really good fun game, nice and relaxed. And I got to try out one of the lists that was a potential for Masters Open. So this is what we did. This is my number 10 battle report that I'm doing on here. It's friendly, and it's against Tommy Tucker's Saurian Ancients. I don't think this is a list he took to the Masters Open exactly because he went with a slightly different magic setup, but it's mostly pretty similar. We did marching columns. I quite like this that kind of deployment because it forces you to drop for 3 each side, and it's quite a good thinking one, I think. I just quite enjoy it. We also did a breakthrough, which, as you'll see with his list, I think he had a slight advantage because he was more scoring than me, but overall I'm pretty happy. So we chose the map B2, and Tommy won the roll for sides, and he chose the bottom here. Yes, so Tommy was deployed in this side, and I was deployed and the top side. To be honest, I wasn't too bothered. I mean, yes, I've got an impassable in my deployment zone, but I'm still quite mobile. What I saw was I chose to deploy 4 first, but I knew I was going to be able to start to see his army as it came out, but I just wanted to have the drop just to advance and push it back, especially in breakthrough. So I had a field, a hill, a forest, a wall, and an impassable on this side with another hill there. So I was pretty happy with first turn. I could get up and dominate this ground here just to kind of keep him back. I knew I was going to drop my forest in this way, and it just keeps that sort of combined bit, especially if I can sort of move that forest across. I can just sort of box him or the other way depending on which side he goes, or if he goes in the center, I'll just move everything forward just to allow my blade dancers to move up and give myself a bit of cover and advantage in the battle. So going on to my list was a bit different. This is the one where I had a Forest Prince Dragon with Titanic Might, Hail Shot, and Obsidian Rock, a Chieftain Battle Standard Bearer with 2 Aether Icons and Hero's Heart and Drums of Khemrin. I've changed from my classic Hunter's Honor one because it wasn't doing the damage I wanted it to. It never really, especially if you go down to 3+ Aegis, it's only on strength 4. I've got no way of buffing it, and I wanted to try out the Drums of Khemrin. I didn't think about it until I properly had a look today. The opponent is only allowed to use a holder reaction. That's really good against chaff, but more importantly, especially when you think about bastion units or other Death Star that can shoot and move, this is really useful. And I'm just thinking about that. The last game of the English Championships for me, where I charged a Dwarven unit. I lost a few on the way in, but with this one, I would have ended up with more, and maybe that would difference. And also with Hunter's Honor now at 85 points, I kind of feel you need the double Aether icon so you can start to protect other parts of your army a bit more with there. The other bit I went with was 2 Adepts, just to try out 1 Druidism, 1 Shamanism. I actually really like this, though I'm not sure whether this is the way of going up. I think I'll go through my list for Masters Open at the end of this, but I really want to branch out after this tournament. There's another one in Bristol in end of February, the Art of War, and I'm not quite convinced. I'm not sure. We'll see, because there's quite a few Masters Open lists, and I'll go through them probably beforehand just to see who's got the best list. I don't think it's me, but I think there's some really cool options. They're all really quite different. We aren't all the same. We all have different gimmicks, whether it's MSU shooting, whether it's myself with a bit of everything, or somebody that's a lot more fast mobile with shamanism stuff. I think it's a really cool list from Artems. But one thing I did go for with this was 2 Binding Scrolls and a Crystal Ball with that +2 to dispel the first time. I'll go through this. I think it's a really, really good item. And that defensive setup of, I know it's a bit more nuanced because I've got 3 Aether Icons and an Obsidian Rock. So between the Aether Icons and Obsidian Rock, I've got 60 points plus 155 for the 2 Binding Scrolls and Crystal Ball. That's only 215? Yeah, 215 points for an exceptionally good magic resistance. Crystal Ball just gives you so much flexibility in that first spell, especially with 2 binding strikes. You can really shut down lots of phases where you want to. And Sylvanels are quite mobile, so we can move around quite a lot, so we can limit actually what spells we need to worry about. I've then stuck with the Dryads and the small scoring Dryads. I could go up to 11, but I just thought, no, I'm wasting points there. And then I wanted to try a big unit of archers. I haven't given them like Banner Deception or anything. Because actually I can, with 17, I can keep them below 366, and that's where I was going to put my Druids, and they could sit behind a Tree Father and Blade Dancer, which are quite mobile, and keep Cowboys and stuff like that away. I then got my Heath Hunter unit, a Tree Father because I like Hooters, my tree. I want to keep him in there. But Alex Wallace, he's made a really good point. I probably should switch that for 5 Thicket Beasts. I think he's right. Just you look at the numbers, and yeah, the only thing that doesn't give you is mobility. But I've got quite a lot of mobility throughout the rest of the list, and the Forest Prince is still there. I've then got 13 Blade Dancers, Aether Icon, 10 Sylvan Sentinels as Scout, and 6 Briar Maidens Champion. I wanted to try and see what the bigger footprint did in this battle, or whether it was that bad. I didn't really fully use it, I don't think, but because I know there's some really interesting lists that use large amounts. But overall, I think I lack scoring, especially as one of mine is archers, but I've definitely got more mobility, and I wouldn't put myself out of it. With his Saurian Ancients, it's very classic, so big pyromancy. This is the old points, because I didn't get sent the list with the new points, but it's pretty much that. The big problems I've got is I know where his 3 Taurosaurs are going to go, around his Quattle with the update. I think the new attribute on is very good. That extra 6 inches of range just makes it very dangerous for our units, especially like Blade Dancers and stuff, so he can keep plinking, especially if we start getting a lot of Fireball Apprentices or Adepts. So I think we're going to have to watch out for that in the future. But it's still those 2 Saurian Warlords. Right, I don't know what to do with them. I think it's always a bit of a mix. I've got to get my Dragon to kill one. I think my Blade Dancers can do the other one, or my Tree Father. So I've got answers to it, but it's certainly not my shooting. So I'm going to have to risk them in combat. But they're still at 1-up. One's got 40, one's got Aegis with 4 wounds. They're res 5. It's just not good. So magic. I went for Healing Waters, test out the new range. I felt if the Blade Dancer start going for it, I'm going to want that. And Summer Grace, just because I know Pyromancy is going to have an effect at some point. I'm going to need to heal. And then with the Shamanism, I took Awaken the Beast and Chilling Howl just to counteract that. I did think about taking Swarm of Insects, but I think Tommy was the one who came and said to me, like, don't. Just, it's good enough as it is. And Chilling Howl is far better. And Awaken the Beast has that balance in combat, so he's got to make a choice out of Forest Embrace, Healing Waters, Awaken the Beast. Going down to just 2 out of a 6 spell setup is just not a good idea. And now I chose Master of Earth to have some healing on the flank with the dragon, and Forest Embrace just to give him some protection against the bows and maybe some other stuff. And they can come in Forest Embrace is quite good. The only thing about this setup is I don't have double forest spells for my Blade Dancers in case I get out of hand, but with this map it really was quite useful. And then he had 5 spells on his Quattle on this time, and he had a Scorching Salvo. I did ask him why he didn't choose Flaming Swords, because I think that's just got so much damage output against Sylvanels. It's really, especially when you start getting into combat. What was it? The Battle Report. I played John's Double Dragon Pyromancy Highborn Elves list, and I think it's really strong because it just bubbles, and it is. I think it's a must stop. Far more than Scorching Salvo, because I've got the MR4 with the Blade Dancers, and I'm not going to let him get out of it that easily. So I think that's my most dangerous spell there. But looking at in this game, if I was planning to be quite aggressive just to see what the list did, because I think it loses a combat element by dropping the Wild Huntsman and having a Tree Father in their place, and then changing an Ancient or Dragon Mage or what for 2 Adepts. I think, and some other stuff. I think is just it puts more. I think it doesn't give me as many combat options. I just wanted to have a look at that. So Cascading Fire is going to be quite important as I get up close to him. So in deployment, you can see where we are. So what happened was I deployed my Heath Hunters here on the right, because I'm like, yeah, the Vanguard, I can move them around, it doesn't matter. And some chaff on this side. He can deploy with the Skinks. I thought, okay, they've got the forest here as well. They're not affected by the, what's it called? field. That's the one. And I thought, yeah, and this, and I knew I was going to put my tree father here just because he's not got that much movement, but it means he can dominate this hill and just wander around. So I put my Dryads there. He put his Taurosaur because he was like, yep, Taurosaur versus Dryads. Taurosaur probably wins. But I put my tree father here because suddenly that changes that dynamic. He's got a shooting attack. I've got more shooting on this side. I think, or better shooting for killing lots of models. And I've got some chaff that's faster. And then he's got his Saurus warriors there. And I was like, okay, so that's possibly where he's going to put his Quattl, somewhere along this line here. I then decided to drop because I wanted to advance quite quickly. As you can see, I put my forest in the center in case because I thought he would probably go more central. I probably should have moved this quite across so I could advance him, but I just wanted to give myself. So I went Blade Dancer and BSB, or BSB on this side just to give the bubble this way. My archers with the adepts in, Briar Maidens, probably should have did a different formation, and then I did the small unit Dryads and the dragon. If I was going to do this again, I'd have probably put the Dryads, left the Dryads there, put the Briar Maidens on the others. No, actually, I don't mind because otherwise, this if I put my worry was if I put them outside of the house, and I did think about it. Yes, I zone this area, but I can get zoned off quite easily, and I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to not get trapped in that corner because I think the spells are quite central. So yeah. And what I do with these scouting centers is end up putting them here because that's where his monsters are, and that's the target I want to go after. So the rest of it, so he kept his pterodons pretty far back, which I was pretty happy with because then they're out of the way. And if they come forward, then I'm pretty close to them. He's got 3 Taurosaurs blocking around the Quattl, but I was pretty happy the Quattl had this big hill in the way because it blocks a lot of his viewpoints, so I could hide some chaff or tree father the other side there. He's then got his 1+5 up Aegis, Warlord here with 4 hit points, still nasty. And another unit of Skinks, just to spread out his scoring. And then on the other side, he had his other with a 4-up Fortitude against my Dragon, which I thought was a really good move because apart from the breath attack, 4-up saves 50+. I could do nothing to him, and I think that was a really good zoning tool. And then he's got his other unit of Saurus because they'll kill my small unit of Dryads, and then he can take the objective, and I think that's quite clever. So my turn 1, what I did, I moved the Heath Hunters up in Vanguard and then moved them back round just to keep them for later turns. Was pretty much just shuffling up the Dryads, so they're still blocking this side, but they're not threatening at the moment. Put the Tree Father up out of range, looking this way in case his Warlord. His Warlord was my biggest threat. I can turn around for the Taurosaur, and if he charges the Dryads, I can still hold there for at least a couple of turns to turn around and then charge in. Happy days. And I've got these that can chaff if necessary. So this is my threat range. I thought I didn't want him moving into without me having some counter charges. So I moved the Blade Dancers up to here, and I moved these 2 around so that the archers could have a look at these guys because I just wanted to take the Skinks out early and then made sure they were in range of this Taurosaur to start weakening. I didn't really know what to do. The Briar Maidens, I could have gone up and risked this, but I didn't want to lose them that early. I just thought, just sit back, wait a turn, and then when these start coming forward, go and get them. I then put the dragon up on the hill. I thought the dragon could take him just because of the number of attacks and just to tempt his Warlord out. What I should have done is had the Briar Maidens angled so that I could go into him if he failed the charge, or if he got the charge, because it was a 9 or 10, then I could counter charge and just get some more combat res. And yeah, but anyway, or angled the dragon so the Dryads could do it themselves. Anyway, in Magic, the only thing I got off was Forest Embrace on the dragon and Oaken Throne. I didn't get anything else off because I don't really need to. So Forest Embrace on dragon, the powerful version, just to make sure if he does get in, he's taking some DTs and he's hitting me on 6. He's rerolling 6s to hit me. And that was it. Shooting. So first off, opened up with the archers, killed quite a few of them, and then opened up with the dragon on Hailshot. I thought I wanted to hold the Hailshot for the Pterodons and just from a Hailshot, I quite like having a target that I think about and I know before the game, or have a few at least, just so when the opportunity arises, I don't miss it, or just spank it in or something. And I've seen these Skinks, and I thought if he charges me and he kills me, I've lost the Hailshot. So I thought now's the time to go and use it and just get the Skink unit out. And I think I got them down to about 2. 2 overall eventually. So they were down there. So that was good shooting from the archers and the hill shot. And I didn't roll particularly high for the hill shot, but it rolled for wound really well, especially as it's strength 4, so hitting a res 2 on 2. So that was pretty good. And then the Centaurs managed to put a wound on the Taurosaur at long range with soft cover in the way, so I was pretty happy with that. Good start. Saurian Ancient turn 1, he charged his Warlord and failed, so next turn I was going to go and charge him. And then, sorry I didn't get a picture in the centre, but he didn't really move much. But you can see this is his magic turn 1, and I was like, crikey, this is bad, I need to... So I didn't use any Binding Scrolls here, and he had quite a big one, which I was comfortable with. And I was like, okay, the BSB's there, they're not going to run, hopefully. So I'm going to stick it out, which they didn't run. So I'm going to stick it out, and I can use Summer's Growth to regen, or they can have some worse time ever, which I was happy with. But losing that much, so I lost 3 archers, 5 sentinels, and a blade dancer. So I was pretty happy. You can see this blade dancer was due to the attribute, not anything else, and he failed to roll on his attribute. So this is where the attribute is really good now, and the pyro is a big danger threat. So they just need to get as many spells off, because suddenly that magic resistance doesn't really help. In my turn 2, I charged because he'd moved the Saurians forward. I was like, yep, okay, I'm going to go past them. So I charged and made it in. It was only like a 7 on a swift stride, so I was pretty happy with that. And I thought, okay, let's try and get some spells off here. But it's something I'll bring up in a short while. So what I did was I moved the Dryads up because now they can't be seen by the Saurians through the hill. The Briar Maidens, I've moved them into the forest here. That's so that they can cast backwards if necessary, but also they can shoot. There's 2 skinks in this sort of area here that I just want to take them off and get rid of them. What I did here was I thought about moving these up and then chaffing, but actually I thought no. So I moved them back, and that's why these markers were here. And I thought about can I go in and stuff like that, but you've got too much danger from these sides, and I thought it's not risky, not this early. So you tried to stay there. He still looks in here, tempting this guy on because I've got the Drums of Khemrin, because these guys can flee. That's really annoying. So I left the Drums of Khemrin guy there, and it was basically a bait. You try and charge the Tree Father. I'll probably hold because he's in range of the BSB, and then I will countercharge with some pretty significant stuff. And I reckon combat res with a BSB, flank charge, standard bearer. So I'm already up by 4 before we started the hit, and I can choose a 3+ Aegis to make it worthwhile. In Magic, I did quite well. This is Summer's Grace, so I managed to get all my Centaurs back up and 1 from the Blade Dancer because I had Oaken's Throne up. But importantly, I didn't get Forest Embrace up or anything on the Dragon this turn. So yeah, and then you see here I did some really good damage. I put everything, the archers and everything. I thought about the pterodons, but no, I put everything into that, and I took another 3 wounds off the Taurosaur, which I was really happy about. So he's left on 2 wounds, and then the Briar Maidens shot off the skinks. 2 skinks were there, so 1 scoring unit down from him. So I was pretty happy with that. In terms of combat, he does. Oh, so this is my turn. I do a wound to him. He saved really well. But I didn't roll. I only got 3 wounds through with 5 attacks, so I was hitting and wounding on 2s. The Forest Embrace probably would have been worthwhile, but that 4 of Fortitude was killing me. And the Dragon did nothing. And then he got 4 wounds. In fact, the Dragon was the one that did something, and I used my Breath Weapon and everything. He did 1 wound, and the Lord did nothing because he's 4 of Fortitude. And then he did 2 wounds to me. So with a wound and a charge, we actually drew combat this round. So I was like, this could be more interesting, but I wasn't panicking yet. In his combat, his turn, he charged this Saurian Warlord and failed, and now he's sat in a forest. Doesn't take any DTs, so there's no pro. But now it's not a difficult charge for my Blade Dancers. So, and I don't think there's any repercussions because he hasn't moved his Taurosaurs up. So I think it's pretty good. What he does do is he moves the Taurosaur up onto the hill here to give my Tree Father a bit of a choice at the moment. Do I go in and then get countercharged by the world, or do I move back and around and do something more janky? Otherwise, he's left it all here. He's trying to wait for my Dryads to come forward to fix me, to then move his skinks down the right. So I was just trying to hold them back. I've still got 4 turns to get there. I can easily do it. Otherwise, he's left it up really quite dang here, and then he's moved his Saurius rounds here, so if this combat is still going into his following turn, he can charge in and charge the Triads. In combat here, this is the start. No magic buffed on either of us. This is the end. So I've done no wounds to him, and he's done 3 wounds to me, because he's got AP 4 at strength 7 and goes straight to my armor. He's absolutely tanked me. I've ran. Luckily, he hasn't seen me. Also, now his Saurians are there. I'm out of their charge range, but he can charge me. If I rally, he's going to charge me next turn, so I need to heal him quite a lot. Yeah, so not good. But as we looked up later, he's below 50% of his hit points, 25% of his hit points, so half leadership, so leadership 5 next turn. In Sylvanhouse, he fails his leadership 5 because there's no BSB anywhere near him. He runs, he hits that like 3 DTs on a 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, he's not surviving. So unfortunately, the dragon is dead beginning my turn 3. So I was thinking, oh, Christ, that's going to be interesting. But it's not the end of the world, but it is a lot of points, and I need to go and play catch up. And I think it's more chance that he's going to win the objective on this side. Better in the centre, I've charged and hit with the Blade Dancer. This is the end of my turn. I've decided to push with this now because I want to. I've moved the Dryads up because he's moved the Taurosaur onto this side. I've moved the Dryads up, keeping the Treefather back here just to do that counter charge once he's charged in there, or if he looks towards the Dryads. The Dryads are back here. Well, I probably move them up too much because his Skinks can now slip past me and his Pterodons can fix me. So I should have been a bit more careful there. Otherwise, I've kept the Sentinels back here so they can shoot at that Taurosaur again. And the Archers have also done that, so I can make sure I can go a good line of sight there. With the Dryads, I move them past here because now his Saurians are blocked by his Lord, ironically. So they're not getting charged, and at least I've got some chance of the objective, but I'm fully expecting his Lord to come back round there to kill them and them to go into the objective. But I'm not panicking yet either, because if the Blade Dancers go through the centre here, I can move my Archers and Sentinels to sort of like as a backstop of the back line and hopefully shoot them off in 3 turns. In Magic, I got what did I get? I got Healing Waters. I got Oakenthrone and Healing Waters off of them, so they've got 4 of Fortitude. But what happens is I kill his Lord. What did I do? I took a few wounds on it. No, I killed. So his Lord put 2 wounds on my BSB, so he's down to 1 wound because I chose the 3 of pages. But then I overran. I still beat him on combat res. I ran him down with Swift Stride and overran into the weakened Taurosaur. I got it down to 1 wound, so it sat on 1 wound, but I didn't manage to kill it with all the shooting, which was a bit disappointing. That would have been really good if I'd overran, because there was plenty of that if I'd overran into the other Taurosaur, and that would have been up. So now I've got 3 Taurosaurs to take on. In his turn, these guys, because they're within 12 inches of the BSB, passed their panic check. They turned around. We turned them around just so that the Taurosaur could fit in correctly. And then he charges other Taurosaur in there. And I was a bit concerned because I've got a BSB sat there with 1 wound. But luckily I can use the 3 of pages. But I'm not overly a problem. So only one this turn I'm really bothered about is the Cascading Fire. He's also moved his Pterodons around here just to block off my Dryads, and you can start to see his magic here. He's a bit concerned about the Dryads, so he's starting to plink them off. I used my Binding Scroll on Cascading Fire just to stop that, and I stopped any chance of Scorching Salvo, so I just let him have plinked a few of wounds off the Dryads. I was pretty happy with them, but you can see the Skinks where I've messed up. The Skinks are starting to go for it, and I haven't really got anything to stop them apart from my shooting at the back. In combat, I kill the 1 wound Taurosaur, and I put a wound on this guy for a cost of only 2, but he's got a charge, but then I've got a banner and a BSB, so I think it's no, I lose. No, I lost, but I've got. I'm not sure. No, I won because I held. Yeah, or it was a draw. 1 or 2. It wasn't a big difference. But anyway, it was a good trade. I was quite happy that one of the Taurosaurs down. Otherwise, he killed all of my Heath Hunters for no wounds and turns to face my BSBs, my Blade Dancers, because he's going in there. He's already got the Pterodons in the way of my Tree Father, so I was pretty like, oh, crap. So in this turn, I've just picked out the end. So what happens is my Tree Father charges them, and they flee. I can't see them anymore, so I charge with the Briar Maidens back the other way so that he can see, but they move through the Tree Father, which is annoying. And then the Tree Father fails to go in there. But you can see here as well, this is what I said would happen. His Lord has moved around there. He's going to probably chop those Dryads to death. I'll be able to hold him for a bit, but not long. And the Saurians are starting to make a break for the objective. And then my turn 4, that's what's happened. So they failed a load of DTs on there and then left on one guy and one wing. So luckily below 25%. So I think they can run off. I've just shuffled them about so they're in the side of the forest. So I get to reroll 1s and he gets to have DTs. Or no, he didn't in the end because I didn't have enough movement to get back. I've tried to charge Tree Father in for a very low charge and he fails on there. No, I failed the redirect because he was out of BSB. It's only leadership 8. I was like, cock. So he fails that, and yeah, nothing really happens. Other than that, I've moved up the Sentinels here to take some shots at this one, and the Archers are there as well, and that's just so I can pump as many shots as possible and get some magic. That was, in fact, no, I moved them up 10 inches so that the Mage was in 12 of the unit. Interesting ones, because we didn't know really how to play this. So I tried to cast Summer's Growth on the unit. I had a constraint up, so I was going to get like 6 or something. So I could heal 2 in the unit. Does then it go on the BSB or does it count as a separate unit? So, and because I can't use the attribute on him because he's further than 12 inches away. So what I did was I cast Summer's Growth, and I was like, Summer's Growth on the BSB then? It's something we're not quite sure about. I might have to ask on the forums. So I cast Summer's Growth on the BSB and then use the 12-inch one on 12-inch attribute on the Blade Dancers because they were in 12. So he went back up to full health and they got increased by 1. Other than that, he stopped pretty much everything else. So, and my Dryads charge into the Pterodons just to get them out of the way, and then they'll turn to face the Saurians again. Yeah, and you can see I'm not bothered about these 2 yet. I need to kill the Quattl in the center as well before I start trying to block them off. I probably did this a turn late, but I think the other spell I got off, which I was more bothered about, he stopped me Awaken the Beast, but I was more bothered about, and I got through Forest Embrace, so they are now stubborn. I was very happy with that. So yeah, that's those spells going through, and you can see they're back. But it's a question. He's done a lot of damage this time with 3 of Aegis. We're not going. No, I didn't use 3 of Aegis this round. I used +1 attack. And that was because I wanted to kill him off with the BSB. I did actually move across, we just didn't move the model. He's strength 5 AP3. It's really quite good. We put a load of wounds on him, but I lost combat. But I'm stubborn in the forest, which is good. So I planned it this way because I knew the chance of me killing him small, but I wanted the forest, and then use the 3+ Aegis next turn where I've got this guy plus another charge and a thunderstorms because 3+ Aegis really mitigates it. But I did lose 5 in there, but I held and I put him down. I'm pretty sure I can kill him next turn. On this side, the Dryads kill the Pterodons easily, and they're going to go into the back of them, or they're going to go into them next turn, or they've got to come to me. One of the 2. I'm not convinced. I've still got another Binding Scroll, so he's not going to be able to use Cascading Fire next turn, which would probably be his only real glimpse. In Saurian Ancients, he charges the Warlord into them, and that's probably the end of the Dryads in a couple of turns. Unless I can heal the champion every time. And then here you go. Yeah, I put him down to 2 wounds, which was good, but he's gone into the flank there. So I've got 2 Taurosaurs with the Blade Dancers at the moment, but they're both on pretty low wounds. And I wasn't unconfident. I thought with a 3 of Pages, I've got this. Especially as I'm stubborn. And I've got a strength 5 character in there. It doesn't take much of spikes to go through them. You can see a Skinks legging it for freedom, but his Pterodon does fail his panic check and goes a little bit further away, but he's probably going to fail it again next turn and go away. Yeah, in Magic he does a few wounds to the Dryads, but nothing major, and then just moves his Saurian Ancients, Saurians up just a block. On this side, he does kill my champion, but they stick. In terms of combat, I kill that with the BSB, and then because AP3 gives him a 6 of armor, and then I hold, because I'm a 3+ Aegis, he does 1 wound to me, and then with Thunderstomps, impact hits everything. So yeah, and then I just turn to face the Taurosaur. So I'm in a pretty good position on this side, and he's already bailed out his Quattl. I think that was a good suit, because otherwise I could have killed that. In my turn, I'm pretty much, the Quattl would have been gone, but he's kept him out of harm's way, and he's sacrificing the Saurians because he's already got the objective, pretty sure. In terms of turn 5, I charged my Tree Father into the back of his Taurosaur, onto the flank, and then left it and clear overrun to the Saurians, whilst I charged them as well with the Dryads. So his Quattl there is survived, but I was pretty confident at this point that I could kill this, overrun into there with the Tree Father, and break them over a couple of rounds. And then what my plan was, I was going to turn them around and go towards the Saurian Warlord on the other side, just to protect my archers, and offer another threat against the Primeans. I got a bit cocky on this side as well, so I moved him up there, and that was so he was in range of Summer's Growth, so I could get the champion up, and that was in range of Master Reverse, so that I could get the champion up, and that was my plan, so that I could hold for another turn. Otherwise, I've risked my Primeans quite a lot, and that was all to go after his Saurian Ancients, while the Sentinels were going to go after his Skinks. The theory was that I could kill these 2 units potentially in 2 turns, or make them panic and run off, because I wasn't bothered about Pterodons, I was pretty sure he was going, and get my Dryads into there to get the objective. So I think I was thinking in the right way, and let's see what happens. Well, this is the shooting. So in Magic, I get Oaken Thrown Off, and then Master of Earth, the first one, I roll a double 1. Bugger. I then roll really quite low for Summer's Growth, it goes off, but with a triple 2. And he was like looking at me going, oh, can I let you get that? Because they were out of range of the BSB, and he was like, oh, I can let you have that miscast. It goes up to a triple 3, so you get 2d6 strength 5 hits. And we were sort of like looking at it, it's like, why are you doing that? I went, because if I raise a champion, you're locked in there for another turn. He went, okay. So he threw all those dice at stop. So on the plus side, no miscast. On the downside, the Warlord is going to be free next turn, so he's going to probably overrun and then have a charge, which means Spider-Man is going to be in trouble. In terms of this, yeah, my shooting here didn't do very well. I was expecting a bit more, and I don't even cause a panic check. And here as well, they do a bit more, but yeah, they do about 5 together between them two, so I was pretty happy with that. I think I was like, yep, another turn, they're going to go down. Well, the plan was, I reckon the Brahmins could charge them at the flank, and that would have been quite damaging for them. But anyway. Yep, I kill the BSB, goes through, doesn't even get to any other attacks, and kills this guy. So the BSB is killed, done a lot of damage. The Hero's Heart is so strong, and then the Tree Father runs in there. Real big combat to Hero's Heart now on Blade Dancer because of the 3-up Aegis. It's something I worked out. If you choose +1 attack, you can get up to 6 attacks at strength 5 AP3 with no other magic buffs. It's insane. And then in this combat here, you can see I've turned the Blade Dancers around and covering this. So if the Saurian Warlord starts throwing my archers, I'm going to go for him. I think they're still quite strong and still do it. So by this point, the Blade Dancer has gone through 3 Taurosaurs, admittedly weakened 2 of them, but 3 Taurosaurs and a Saurian Warlord. So they're doing really well. So the Dryads and Tree Fathers should be able to finish these guys off. Well, they do that, and they kill quite a few. So there's only 8 left for a small price. So he loses 4 in the back rank. So he did quite well in his hits as well. That reroll 1s to hit is really quite strong. This is his leadership check. He needed like a double 1, and he got it on the reroll in cold-blooded. So well done there. That was good, because that's kind of stopped me getting the objective. So well done to those Saurians. They've earned their points back. I can't even draw the objective. I kill one of those units. So well done. And then they killed the Dryads and he's over on there. So the Briarmanes are now getting it in the flank next turn. So Saurian Ancients, that's him going into the flank, and that's his dangerous terrain roll. So yeah, nothing happens. And then he's moved his Quattl around and his Skinks, so they're in my deployment zone, and they're just waiting there to kill off the taking off the Sentinels. So between that, fireballs and skinks, I was like, Christ, I could lose the Sentinels as well. So that's not good. And then he can move on to my archers. And he's moved the Saurians there, so they're still facing me. If I come forward, they can charge me, but equally they can still move into the objective quite easily, and they're out of range of the Blade Dancers. But you can see, I was looking at this, I was like, if they flee that way, he's going to chase. That is a possible countercharge. Anyway, so in shooting, he doesn't do as well. I didn't have any binding scrolls but left by this point, but Tommy rolled quite badly, which is unfortunate for him. But the crystal ball is so strong. Crystal ball is a difference between stopping one spell a turn and two, especially if you've got a significant amount of magic resistance throughout. It really is, especially with units that want to cast those low values. I mean, let's say one dice he rolls and gets 5. You only need a 3 on a dice roll. I mean, that's 66% with a crystal ball. So if you've got 3 dice left, I was doing this. I had 3 dice. He had 4. He rolled 5 on 2. Somehow, I'm not sure. He only had +1 to advantage. It was a really bad roll, but it went off. And I stopped it. And then it was 2 dice versus 2 dice, or 3. No, I had 4. He had 4. He rolled 2. I stopped it because he rolled really low. And then I had 3 dice against his 4, against his 2, and I stopped that as well. So it's such a good item. It was what made me go, I need to drop the Talisman of Void for 3 channel to take this. To take Crystal Ball, and then his Skink's only got another 1 on the shooting. But the unit is down to 5 and probably is going to die next turn, if I'm honest. In terms of combat, I didn't challenge because I didn't want to lose my champion, because this was a possibility. They did fail their rally check, they were miles away, but they ran, and now they're there and they've survived, and I've still got a champion. So if I rally next turn, I get to use magic again. And then, but there is that is an 11 on dice on Swift Stride, but it's there, so I take it. It's the final turn. I need to do it because otherwise I'm going to have to hopefully rally with them. Well, yeah, this goes off again and they hold. Don't know why. Can't kill them. Need to get rid of them. Can't do it. So they're going to be locked in combat another turn. They had like double 1 again, and I rolled badly or didn't kill many of them. But in essence, I don't break them. And then my turn 6. Yeah, that's the charge. I brought it back to this picture because I wanted to. That's what my aim is going to be, and that's what I roll. A 1, but I roll a 5 and a 6. So the Blade Dancers are in. I'm pretty like, yep, I'm going to kill your other Warlord. So they did. They went in the flank. The Brymans rallied, and I turned these guys around to walk away. And the reasoning was on that. So 1, I could shoot at the Skinks a bit more because I was pretty confident in it. I was going to break that, and then they've run to Saurians. And this is probably what I should have done initially, but the archers were going to go here. I was going to see if I could try and make a panic check on them and make them break. Yeah, that was the plan. What happened was, yeah, I put him down to 1 wound and I took a wound. It was not clever. It's interesting. The BSB did not save any Aegis in a challenge, but out of a challenge, absolute boss. So, note to self. He breaks, I overrun, I kill the Lord, and then I'm into the flank of his Saurians. In shooting, or no, this is his turn. So I took this picture at the turn because if you're a Sentinel, this is the picture you're looking at. I don't break the Skinks in last turn, but now I'm looking at a Quattle. I was very angry because I killed most of his units, and some Skinks with Pyro, so poor Sentinels. And yeah, they got wiped out. Like that tree is covering, but they got killed off completely in that final turn. But on the plus side, you can see the Saurians up here. I have at least killed them. We don't roll for the combat with the Saurians. We just assume that the Blade Dancers would just go through them because I'd have chosen +1 attack. They've got parry. Even though they've got parry, I've got paired weapons. So yeah, I think it's going to go. Yeah, we didn't roll for that, and that's the end of it. So the only things left on the board were these Skinks, the Quattle from his side, but I had the Blade Dancers, the Brymans, the Archers, the Tree Father, and the Dryads. So it goes to work, but he's got the objective. So it's going to be a -3 and a +3 to him. So, but otherwise, it was a really fun game actually, and it was an interesting magic setup. It's something different than just a Druid Master, and it's something I want to have a look at again, see if I can get a Shamanism Master in or something. Just have a bit more fun with Druidism, though. I'm going to have a look at the new changes at Masters Open, see if that makes it better. Maybe even try some divination, get a Forest Rangers unit in there. I think that'd be quite cool. Okay. So this is a result. That's mine with 200, so 170, and he took 2935. But effectively, that's the difference, which was a 13-7, but he won the secondary and went in. I think it was, from my perspective, I think the people that I played better with out of all of them were the Blade Dancers, being more aggressive, and that Drums of Khemrin are really tricky, along with Hunter's Honor. Hunter's Honor is such a good, not Hunter's Honor, Hero's Heart is such a good thing with them because I can go to a 3+ Aegis and there's nothing affecting my damage output really. I'm still at strength 5 AP3, so very happy with that. I can't buff it easily because, as I found out in the forum, he's already AP2, strength 4. So if he got buffed, he just goes to a strength 5 AP3. So it wasn't that, but it's something I'm definitely taking. The only thing I want to do as well is Drums of Khemrin. I was thinking about that. If you've got like a blunderbuss unit and the Bastion, you march. You've got a wood in the way somehow. You put your wood in the center because you know that's roughly where it's going to be. You use Tree Singing to move that 6 inches further in, and you bounce your Blade Dancers in, or you have 2 tree spells and you put them in there. So they've got hard target and soft cover. They're going to get shot. Fine, because they've got a 12-inch range. That's only a 7-inch charge on a Swiss Stride, and the Drums of Khemrin stop them doing a standard shoot. So they're going to have one round of shooting where they're going to be hitting on, because they hit on 5+ normally with hard target, soft cover, maybe in 20 roots, something else. They're going to be going on 7s, and then you absolutely go to town on them with +1 attack. Just go for it on the first one of you, because once you're in there, that's when you can start making choices about, if you get Oaken thrown off, you can make him choose. Right, you can either choose Steadfast or Res 6 Elves, or your choice. You don't, and that is lethal, I think. So I think that's something I'm definitely going to try and see if I can make work. Probably everyone's alive to it. The other one I'm going to change out is I'm going to take Crystal Ball, which I've said it was superb, and that's it. So on that note, that's my Masters Open list. I was really happy with this. I was looking and going, yeah, this is really strong. And then I saw all the lists come out and how much shooting there was, and I went, yeah, this could be interesting. So I'm glad I took Banner of the Silent Mist on Kestrel Knights. I was umming and ahhing about it, but I think I don't know whether I brought enough shooting, but I think between my Chieftain, as I've explained, he's quite janky. The avatar is quite robust. We're going to see how the new attribute changes, but I think that means my magic set on my Briar Maidens might be different. I think Truth of Time might be a good thing, especially with the Kestrels and the avatar and the Blade Dancers. I just need to have a look at it and make sure I get those rules right, because it's one of those spells that could require a rules team, and I should have due diligence to go in. So I think with Swiss Stride, I effectively get to roll 5 dice. I need to double check, but that's insane. I wish maybe I should have taken Banner of Speed on them, or Rending Banner, or Predator's Pendant, something like that. Yes, I know Alex Wallace has said it before, and it was only when I was thinking about the Drums of Khemrin that I was like, this makes them really lethal. So I think if you put that, the other one to put that on maybe is a Forest Ranger unit, or have it on a hero in a Forest Rangers unit, or a Lord. You can have Drums of Khemrin because it's standard or foot soldiers only, whatever. They've got to be on foot. But think about it. You could have a Forest Rangers unit with a hero BSB with Hero's Heart, paired weapons. They could have, I suppose, yeah, it's not great. Maybe a great weapon, Drums of Khemrin, and Essence of Mithril, or maybe you need a Lord in there. It might be a completely different setup actually. So maybe Hunters on a Spear on a Lord, bit of shamanism. But anyway, on Banner of Speed. Either way, with Truth of Time, I think I'm going to have a look at Truth of Time and break the spirit a bit more, just to stop people shooting and give them a bit of problems. I think in 20 roots is going to be quite strong. I like putting my forest in the center, moving it, and then using that to cast in 20 roots. I think it's quite a good spell, especially early game. it's a bit like chilling out for me with the amount of shooting that's going on. Yeah, and we'll see what happens there. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the list. I don't think I'm going for it. In terms of objectives, I'm going for. I'm not going to go for top player because I think Chris Bond's got a really nice Silver Knife list. I recommend looking at it. But I'm more going, and I'm not going to give myself a points objective. What I want to do is play far quicker so that I can actually have a look at the Masters. It'd be really nice to go and see the top players in the country go and play because all of them are there and no one's dropped out. So I'd be really happy with that. But that's one of the things I want to do. I want to make sure I play the list, play it wide, play quite aggressively, and hopefully have some quicker games because we were finishing with minutes to spare last time and I was just a bit... So hopefully with the Kestrel Knights in there, I can be a bit more aggressive with that and just overwhelm people with options and shooting, but there's just quite a lot, so we'll see. Anyway, thank you for listening. That's AAA Wargaming. Hope you have a remainder of a good weekend.